By the spring of Herod, in the valley below the hill of Morah, an Israelite army of 32,000 men gathers under Gideon. Across the valley to the north, the camp of Midian spreads like a flood, tents beyond counting, and camel herds like sand on the seashore. Israel is already outnumbered many times over. Yet God tells Gideon his army is actually too large. The Malbim reads the danger here plainly. If Israel wins with 32,000 men, they will likely credit the deliverance to their own human strength rather than to God. Gideon gives the order, "Whoever is fearful and trembling, let him return." 22,000 men turn back. But as the Malbim points out, they do not go straight home. They camp on the nearby high ground, waiting for the night's events. Only 10,000 men remain. Still, God says the number must be stripped down further to guarantee the victory is recognized as divine. Gideon brings these remaining 10,000 men down to the water, where God conducts a test based on how each man drinks. Most men kneel down, putting their faces low to drink with complete abandon, but a few stay on their feet. They cup a hand to their mouth and lap the water, keeping their eyes up. The Malbim notes that those who knelt surrendered completely to their thirst and dropped their guard. Only 300 men stayed alert, maintaining their watch even at the water's edge. God confirms his choice. "By the 300 men who lapped will I save you, and deliver Midian into your hand." The other 9,700 are sent back to their tents. This leaves a tiny remnant, holding only trumpets and jars between Israel and the massive host across the valley. These 300 were not selected for superior martial strength, but because their physical posture of restraint proved they were ready to watch God fight the battle for them. That night, God tells Gideon to attack. Knowing Gideon is still afraid, God offers a way to strengthen his hands. Go down to the edge of the camp with his servant Porah and listen to what the enemy is saying. Gideon creeps toward the perimeter, where the coalition of Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east fill the valley like locusts. Near the edge of the camp, a soldier is telling a dream. He saw a coarse loaf of barley bread, the food of the poor, tumbling into the camp and striking a tent so hard it collapsed. The soldier's companion identifies the loaf at once as the sword of Gideon, declaring that God has already given the camp into his hand. Gideon hears his own victory prophesied by the enemy. He bows in thanksgiving, returns to his camp, and commands the 300 to arise. The panicked dream of an anonymous soldier, overheard in the dark, finally gives Gideon the courage to lead the charge. Gideon divides his 300 men into 3 companies, stationing them on all sides of the Midianite camp to create the appearance of a massive surrounding army. Every man carries a shofar trumpet and a clay jar with a hidden torch. No one draws a sword. Gideon gives strict orders for synchronization. The men must watch him in the dark and mirror his actions exactly. In the dead of the middle watch, 300 clay jars shatter at once, exposing 300 blazing torches. 300 horns blast from every side, and the men raise a synchronized cry, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Enveloped by fire and noise, the panicked Midianite multitude turns their own swords against one another in the confusion. The Israelite line never breaks the perimeter. Without drawing a single blade in melee combat, they watch as the enemy host destroys itself through sheer terror. As the broken Midianite camp flees, the 22,000 men previously stationed on the high ground sweep down to join the pursuit. Gideon calls for the men of Ephraim to seize the Jordan River fords, cutting off the enemy's escape route. Ephraim takes the crossings and captures the 2 Midianite commanders, Oreb and Zeb, dealing with them swiftly at the river. By the time the pursuit begins, an army of 300 has broken a coalition of thousands with their own swords still sheathed. This outcome fulfills the Malbim's opening warning. The extreme reduction of the army ensured that when the trumpets fell silent, not a single Israelite could claim their own hand had saved them.